Okay. So, good afternoon to one and all present. Work hard in silence and let success make the noise. With this, I, Vanshika Arora, the President of the Department of Mathematics, welcome you all to the first session of this academic year. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor Bimal Kumar Roy, who has joined us today for an informative session on some recent issues in cryptology. I would also like to welcome all the teachers of the department, the students, and all the participants to this session. We are all elated to have Professor with us, and we hope to gain an insight into his field. Telling something about him. He is a professor at the Applied Statistics Unit, ISI, Kolkata. He is a chairman at the National Statistical Commission of the Government of India. He has a PhD in combinatorics from the University of Waterloo, Canada in 1982. Professor was conferred with the Padma Shri Award in 2015 for his accomplishments and contribution to education. He has supervised 13 PhD theses and over 50 master's dissertations in different technical areas. He is currently working on combinatorics, application of statistics in cryptology, and design of experiments. He has conceptualized and initiated the R.C. Bose Center for Cryptology and Security at ISI Kolkata. He has pioneered cryptology education and research in India and has been instrumental in organizing national level research and instructional workshops for students, young faculty members, and researchers to disseminate the state of the art knowledge in cryptology. The presence of such a personality is a blessing. We hope that the audience can seek a little guidance and imbibe something from his thoughts. He is a leader who's an inspiration for the youth and a motivational icon for each one of us. I would also like to introduce the teachers of our department. We have with us Dr. Indrakshi Datta, the teacher in charge, Dr. Alka Marwa, Dr. Shri Rohan, Dr. Rashmi Kutral, Dr. Monica Rani, and Dr. Shri.
A warm welcome to you, sir. I welcome you on behalf of the Department of Mathematics and also our principal who is unable to come today. And here I take this opportunity to welcome all the participants here and everyone who's there in the webinar. Welcome all of you. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
We also have with us Dr. Richa Krishna. Before beginning the session, I would request all the teachers and the students to turn on their videos for clicking a picture.
It's a pleasure to host you, sir. Thank you for taking
time.
So
shall I start or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I start?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the invitation and also this very elaborate introduction. I feel very uneasy with all kinds of this, raising words and etc. So anyway, let me get into the subject, and I hope in next 45 minutes I can probably make you more enthusiastic about the subject, and you would be more committed to learn beyond what I am talking today. And since you are all math students, and I would assume that you have no formal exposure to cryptology, so I'll be defining certain issues and concepts, but that through some stories. This is the best way I can, but then I'll try to point out what is the story is just not a story. There is something much beyond the story. I start with my first example from my high school days. I was grade 8 maybe, and we had an outstanding mathematics teacher. So one day he told that the marks that I sent the headmaster, because in school there is no control of examiners. He used to have the examinations, and then he would grade the papers, and on a piece of paper, on a mark sheet, he would write it down, and then the envelope. And that time there was no sellotape when I studied, and he would seal it with gum. You are too young for me to understand my age. We no more use gums, right, to seal the envelopes. But we used to have, gum tubes, like what you see this Fevicol, Feviquick. We used to have the gums. So we'll use the gum to seal the envelope, and then tell the peon, take it to the headmaster. And the peon will take it to the headmaster. And then one day he told me, this method of communication is extremely insecure. And we asked, sir, why? Then he said, okay, come to the teacher's room. We all went to the teacher's room. In one of the teacher's room, there is a stove and a kettle of water. And I don't know if in your rooms you have it. This kettle, now we have electric kettle, but that time it was a kerosene stove and a kettle of water. And if the teachers ask the peon to make some cup of tea for them, he is going to put the water in this kettle, and the water will boil. And when the steam comes out of the nozzle, he knows that the water is boiled, and then he will make the tea with the boiled water. Then what he did, he just hold that the sealed side of the envelope, or it is sealed with a gum, before that nozzle, or the steam is coming out, and then the gum, loosens, and then loosens to an extent that he could open that envelope. The seal is completely gone. And then I see, I can now take this mark sheet out, and we have all innovative ideas. We can put some, vanishing ink or white ink and blah, 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 and we can change the marks. There's no issue. Or if somebody is an expert in putting our teacher's signature, he can actually create a different mark sheet and then put in the envelope, then again seal with the same gum, and then the peon goes to the headmaster and delivers. So he says, see, this equation, communication is very, very insecure. And we agreed. And what is relevant today, when I'm going to, you heard this Pegasus news. So this, when the politicians are talking to each other, it seems the government intelligence is actually hacking into the system and listening to this. Meaning what? That the communication that's happening between any two persons is not really that secure. Somebody can actually hack into the system and get it. Listen is Pegasus, but anyway, you can trust me that if I send you an email or if I make a phone call to you, these are not really very secure. It's very easy to hack the system and get out of what is going on between us. So what he pointed out at that point of time, long back, almost 50 years back, that the communication is not secure. And that is again the main point, main crux in today's development of this cryptology. In the digital domain, the communication is unsafe. Okay, but then he needed a solution, right? So then he talked about a solution, very rudimentary solution. But had he written that on some document or even published in a newspaper, his solution, he would have been a billionaire by now, because the whole modern methodology basically imitates what he thought 50 years back. So I'll tell you what was his solution. Looks very rudimentary, but very, very just ingenuine. I just can't imagine how genuine, how genius solution could be. He said, okay, I'm going to design a small attache case. You know what is attache case? It will be big, small, but the main point is that at the two end of the attache case, they have two locks and you have two different keys. In order to open the attache case, you have to open both the locks. He says, so I'm going to design a small attache case, not large. In fact, in our time, attache cases are very popular. Nowadays, I don't see people much using it. I remember in my wedding time, I got 5 attache cases as a gift. And I carried this as my luggage for years. So he said that he will be designing a small attache case and 2 locks, so 2 keys. One key will be with him and other key will be with the headmaster. So what he will do? He will take this mark sheet and put inside the attache case. It's a solid metal body attache case. Should not be able to be broken so easily. And then he's going to lock his side with his key. And then tell the peon, take it to the headmaster. The headmaster gets it. He cannot open it because it's locked from the teacher's side and that's locked. He has no key of the teacher. So he cannot open it. So what he does, he is going to lock his side now. Okay, he locks his side and then tell the peon, now take it back to the teacher. So the peon gets back to the teacher, and what the teacher does, teacher is now going to open his side. So when teacher got the attaché case, both the locks were there. Both the sides were locked. Now what he does, he's going to, with his own key, he's going to open his side. Okay, and then we'll tell the peon, take it back to the headmaster. And the headmaster has his key, he's going to open his side of the attaché case. And the attaché is opened and he gets the mark sheet. Now what he has achieved, he didn't realize what he has achieved by this point. That he had made sure not only this is secure, well, I'll define the notion of secure later on. Not only this is a very secure one, but he has made sure that the headmaster, only the headmaster can access this mark sheet. Nobody else can. Think about it. And even the headmaster is assured that it is this teacher and he only sent the mark sheet, not anybody else. Okay, so this is what we call authentication. So the receiver is authenticating the sender and the sender is authenticating the receiver. Now all this modern communication, this is so important. Number one, it has to be secured, and also I want to make sure if I'm making a phone call to Monica, I want to make sure that Monica only receives it, nobody else. Or Monica also wants to make sure that I'm calling, not somebody is spoofing for me. Okay. Now these things, the solutions are provided these days by this technology. Now the basic mathematical sense is what my teacher told me long time back. Now he's talking about rudimentary method, but you can actually translate each of these method into a very high mathematical functions. Okay, so what we are doing is actually is basically like a function and its inverse. Together it is going to nullify the effect. So if I have an fx or math students fx, and then if I apply f inverse on that, then I get the x back. So in this case, actually, I have my f inverse, and headmaster has his say g and g inverse. So we're applying that only. So by doing this locking, I'm actually applying. Locking means I'm applying the function. Unlocking means I'm just applying the inverse function on that. So this simple notion of these functions and the inverses, and he actually implemented that. So now this has to be implemented, in a much digital domain. We're using functions, good functions, bad functions, which functions are good. There's a lot of study subject here, and this is what is called public key cryptography. So if you want to communicate in public, so this is the basic method even today, and I would say the birth of this method was in my high school when I was a grade 8 student, long 50 years back. So I understood that. So I don't want to get into but the actual functions used these days it uses involved number theory. So also in the lock, what is a good lock and what is a bad lock, right? One bad lock can be broken easily. So I'll tell you what is meant by a good lock or bad lock. When I was in a hostel, I spent all my life basically in the hostels, and I used to lose my key very, very often. I don't know. Do you have a hostel in the college? Somebody answer. Do you have a hostel in the college?
No, we don't have. We don't have.
If you think of a hostel kids are very unserious. I was a very unserious student. As per the living is concerned, I used to lose my key. Okay, but then was there a problem? No problem, because outside my campus there would be an old blacksmith in Bangla. I'll tell Dadu, I have lost my key, and then he'll come he will take a bit of pudding, and on the lock he will be putting the pudding, and then in 10 minutes he used to give me another key. So this is something like, if you know the f, somebody can compute the f inverse. If my function is f of x equal to x square, the inverse is square root of x. So if I have an access to x, probably I can even make my square root function working. So I could also be like that locksmith. But I want to make locks more different way that nobody, well, I cannot say nobody can, but it will be very difficult to reproduce my key. That means if you have the lock, it's difficult for you to reproduce the key. So if I use a function, it will be difficult to get the inverse. Okay, so this is what we call in mathematics one-way functions. So we'll be using one-way function. A typical example is multiplication. So if I give two numbers to you, you can multiply, right? Or the inverse, if I give you the product, can you get me what are the factors? As of today, we have no good method of factoring. So there would be, so making this lock strong, or meaning that the key cannot be reproduced, this amounts to getting one-way functions. The stronger one way, the better the lock is. So the modern technology in cryptology, so if you think of even our communication, so even if this voice goes end-to-end encrypted, that means they have devised that one. So they are going to use these one-way functions. And if you're interested, Google search one-way functions, there will be plenty of them. I told you the simplest one, multiplication, and the inverse is factorization, which is, we don't know any good method as of today. So this is my first example. From this, I will go to the, again, another example, similar to this notion of attaché case. Now, the students are very young, right? So they won't understand what is a bank locker. But maybe the teachers will understand what is a bank locker, at least if you are married.
I think they will understand.
They understand.
We have very intelligent students.
You see, when I was a student, I didn't know what is a bank locker. I had no idea what is a bank locker. Even when I got married, my wife told me some jewelry. If you know where to get a bank locker, you go to a bank, get a locker, and she puts her jewelry. No. How does it operate? This lockers have, again, like the attaché case, it has got two keys. So two holes, two locks, and one key is left with me and one key is left with the bank manager. So if I go there, then what the manager would do, manager will first have to identify I am the person, so put a sign here, then he will verify with the signature, then he wants to make sure that I am the person. Because maybe my wife also could participate, she was enlisted there, so he will make sure that we are the right person, and then we'll go to the locker room, and then he will put his key in that hole, and we put our key in the hole, and they are turned at the same time, and the locker is open. And wonder what happened. I just read this in the newspapers quite a few years back. A court case. One couple one day found out that the locker is empty. Okay, I think very recently there has been a regulation now by the bank that if there is anything lost, bank is no responsible. So I think I read in the newspaper a few days back that bank has a regulation that bank is no responsible for any loss of valuables from your locker. It's solely your responsibility. Anyway, so they find the locker is empty. So they complain to the bank. The manager said, oh, what can I do? I don't know, because you know that with my key, I cannot open the locker. So I can't take it. So they're not happy. So they go to the police. Police comes, and police also tells how does the locker work. They explain, and then the police takes the key from the bank manager, and police tries to open it. Police still can't open it. Police say, no, this is not a case. The manager is not responsible. I may take a note, a case diary, but the manager is not responsible because manager's key doesn't open this locker. So they don't really give any seriousness, they leave. And then these two persons, this couple gets very upset. They file a court case. Okay, they say, since we are paying the rent for the locker, the bank has some responsibility. And then the judge actually gives a very good judgment. No technical judgment. From the legal point of view, the judge asked the couple, do you have a list of articles that you put inside the locker? He said, we can remember. He said, no, it's not remember. Do you have a list? He said, we can make a list. Okay, fine. Did you share it with the bank? He said, no. So if you don't have a list of valuables you're putting inside, and if you didn't share with the bank, and if the bank didn't verify it, then anybody would empty their locker and claim that I had 10 crores of rupees worth of jewelry inside my locker, and the bank is responsible. So until this system is in practice, that you list the valuables, bank has a copy, they verify, and then bank is responsible. Otherwise not. So they took a very legal angle, no technology angle, and the case was dismissed in favor of the bank. And now I get I think I just read in the newspaper that it's a legislation that the bank is no responsible. That's a court judgment, but now it's a government regulation that if you lose anything, you cannot go and claim to the bank, because it's not agreed upon that I have to give my list of articles to the bank, because even the customers don't want to let the bank know what is there inside the locker. So dismissed, now is a law. If you lose anything from the locker, you cannot complain the bank. Bank is not responsible. But so far it's so good. But then I was reading this newspaper article, something came up into mind. I ran to my bank and I asked the manager, do you have a proof? There's a mathematician talking about proof that my key cannot be reconstructed. They say, how can you prove that your key can be reconstructed? It's a good company, Godrej company key, so it can be, they said that it can be reconstructed. I don't know, that doesn't satisfy me. You understand my first fundamental question? Do you have a proof that my key cannot be reconstructed? The second one actually floored him. I told some vendor has manufactured these lockers, and what they have showed you is that this pair of key opens the locker. But do you have a proof, or can your vendor give me a proof to my satisfaction that there exists no other pair of keys which open this locker? Let me repeat my question again. This is a very mathematical question. I asked the bank, told you just ask your vendors to give me a proof that there exists no other pair of keys which can open this locker. And the manager told, sir, excuse me, I have no answer. Please leave me in peace. So I come back, then I write an article in Times of India. Times of India wrote a big article with my concerns. And because the same morning when it was published, that time still the RBI governor was Dr. Urjit Patel. I also know him personally a little bit. So I got a phone call from Urjit. He said, Bimal, what are you recommending? That we have to change all the lockers? So I told that these lockers are not really technically safe or secure. The security is only by belief. I don't have any technical or mathematical proof that these are safe. So he says, I understand your argument, but so you mean to say that we have to change the lockers in such a way that there will be proof of two things. Number one, my key cannot be reconstructed, and there exists no other pair of keys which can open this locker. I told, see, I didn't say that this is unsafe. I'm just trying to, as a scientist, I think it's my duty to point out to the issues. There is a security issue. I'm not telling that the banks are fooling people, but I think it's onus on you to come up very clear to the people that yes, my things are safe. So I would, I didn't say that you are doing anything wrong, but so then let's meet one day and let's think seriously about it. that how do we have a locker system changed where these proofs can be delivered. Okay, this is one. Number two, then I got a phone call from Central Vigilance Commission, and he said, "Sir, do you think these are all very insecure?" I said, "No, please excuse me. I never told that it's insecure. I only told that they must be secure, but I want a proof that it's secure. So don't quote me other way. Then the government will just arrest me and put me to jail. I have never said that it's insecure. All I wanted a proof of security. So I think as a citizen, I can demand that. So Vigilance Commission left me. And then I'm coming to the solution of this one. And I'll tell you, I love to interact with the girls. Is it all girls students or there are boys also in the college? Is it only girls or boys and girls?
Only
It's
girls.
a girls'
Sorry,
Girls college, but some boys must have joined today to listen.
Okay, no, fine. No. So I remember I gave a talk in a girls' college in Kolkata. And I told them, and I got a solution from them. I'll talk about that again, genius solution. Young kid of college, first year mathematics student, she came up with this solution. So I was telling him what do I mean by proof. So I was trying to explain what is mean by proof, and then I told them that now can you give me a solution. So I told, okay, let's agree that we don't get into mechanical locks at all because a proof doesn't exist there. It's only by belief. Okay, so let's go into the digital domain. So see, you have seen these modern hotels. You know, they don't give you this key; they give a card. Okay, the key is actually embedded in the card, and when you touch that lock, okay, so there is a circuitry. Your card, that input will be inside the circuitry, and something will be performed, and the output will be 0 or 1. If it is 1, the lock opens. If it is 0, it doesn't open. And they have established that this output of this digital function is going to 1 only if the input is this. Otherwise, the output is going to be 0. Now, these things are very easily provable. You know, if you are doing some binary mathematics or digital mathematics, these are very trivial things. So you can always construct a function, and you can show that only for this particular input, output is going to 1, else is going to be 0. So you can replace this by a digital lock, and the card will have the key embedded. You touch it, it opens. But that doesn't solve my problem. So I want 2 keys, isn't it? So now I know that there is a digital key which is going to open the locker. But now I have to, what my notion is that I have to share this key between 2 of us, between me and the bank. Now it's something like doing Lego. When my son was very young, we used to give them Lego, and he was trying to put things together to get a figure. But if I give a few of them, it's a challenge to fit them, right? So there may be some 50 pieces, and I make them randomize, and I give it to my son. It was a challenge for him to, fit it, isn't it? So that was a challenge. That was a game, putting Legos to create these figures. So this is something like I have to share this key with 2 different persons, so that 2 of them together can create recreate the key, and 1 cannot, or nobody cannot, or nobody can. This is the whole notion of this one. So I said, okay, let's do one thing. Again, you can think that the key is actually a number, 0-1 sequence. So everything in the digital is 0 and 1. So basically a number. You can think of what we call this one-way 1-1-on-2 function, or bijection between binary to real numbers. So these are numbers really. So that for me, it's only sequence 0s and 1s. This is a synonym to me. So I may just use this or that way. Number means could be just the number the way we think, or it could be just a sequence of 0s and 1s. Both are numbers to me. So I say, okay, so you do one thing. You have designed a lock, and there is a key. Key is basically a sequence of 0s and 1s. I make it half. Right half is one number, left half is another number. Okay. Now you draw a straight line. Okay, draw a straight line where the intercept is the left side number and the gradient or slope is the right side number. Okay, so you draw a straight line, and then this is the most important part. Within quote, randomly, I'll explain what I mean by random in my third episode. Randomly, you pick up 2 points from the straight line. What do you mean by picking up 2 points from the straight line? Some xy coordinates. So we pick up one xy coordinate from that line, one xy on the line. Now this xy coordinate you give it to customer, this xy coordinate you give it to the bank. Okay, and you destroy that straight line. Is understood? And then when I come to the bank and the manager comes to the locker, all we do, we touch my card, which gives basically a point on that straight line. The manager will touch his or her card, it will give the point, another other point on the straight line. And then I design what I call an app or application, which will compute the slope and the intercept. Very simple formula, class 8 mathematics. So you compute the slope and the intercept, very easy. So it will get an output, this app. So input is 2 points and output will be the slope and intercept of the straight line, which I have destroyed. And then if you put one after another, that is the input to my actual lock. And the lock opens. Okay, now how can there be a fraudulent activities? Now can the manager do it? Because with 1 point you cannot compute the slope and the intercept. So neither me nor the manager can unilaterally open this locker, because I need to compute the slope and this thing. With 1 point I cannot do it. Okay, others can they do it? They can do it if they can get 2 points from that straight line. Okay, but if I destroy the straight line after creation, I believe something that someone who has drawn that straight line and is destroyed, then if you pick up 2 random points, the chance that that will lie on my line is basically 0, right? So think of 2 points, I think, randomly, and that they will lie on my straight line. It's going to be almost 0. So if somebody has to do some fraudulent activity, that person has to pick up points from that straight line. And that straight line I destroy as soon as I created that. Okay, so this I would say probably would satisfy the mathematics of the scientific community that this is secure. Okay, then I put the next question to the audience that time. I wish I had the girls before me, and they would probably solve it. So I asked them that now that my wife she's very uneasy that she has to we have to share the key. Okay, so why not? See, you are an expert, so why don't you design something? You have your key, I have my key. Manager has manager's key. So my key and the manager's key will open the locker, and as well as your key and manager's key will also open the locker. Okay, can you do this thing? And I told you, yeah, it's very easy. So the students gave me a solution. So listen to this solution, very, very, very genius solution. I forgot the name of that girl. No, I wish I could note down that I could have followed up that girl. What is she doing later on? I told her that if you want, you can contact me. I gave her email address, my email address. But after 1 or 2 communication, she didn't communicate with me. So what she told, sir, you think of a circle, okay, and the radius is the actual key. Radius. Okay, so center is a point. You give the center to the manager, meaning that the coordinate of the center, manager. And then from that circumference, you pick up 2 points randomly. Okay, then give 1 point to yourself, give another point to your wife. So now what the app will do, if I go, I have a point on the circumference, manager has the center, you can compute the radius. If my wife goes, my wife gives a point on the circumference and the manager gives the center, The app will compute that radius and the locker opens. So my wife's concern is handled, right? So, and she was very happy to understand this solution. Okay, now I ask you a little brain teaser. I give you two problems for the student community. Now, if suppose there are two managers in the bank, A and B, and me and my wife, C and D. Now, four of them, each one of them will have a key. And who can open this locker? Manager A with either me or my wife. Manager B with me or my wife. Both the managers cannot. Both the customers cannot. Okay, you get me? A geometric solution. This will be easy, not difficult. You should be able to get it. But the next one may not be that easy. This actually is applied in the Indian government. Maybe it could be also in a college environment also. I don't know your environment. So there could be a principal and a dean. Okay, and so the marks, the scores of all the students, they are kept in one file. Okay, now who can access this this score sheet? Typically in the colleges, the principal is the all in all. So I'm not blaming the principal, but if you want to make it a little bit, the principal becomes absent one day, the college basically stops. I used to see that in my school. Headmaster is ill, nothing really happens. So in the government also, if a big one of the very important secretary is absent, nothing may not work. So it's okay. No, let's make a strategy. So there could be one secretary there, or maybe an additional secretary. Okay, and there could be, we could pick up a few next level government officers, maybe the joint secretaries. And I say, who can access that document? One of the secretary or the additional secretary, and maybe any two of the joint secretaries. So think of a scenario. I've got two top level officers, A and B, and then 6 next level officers, C, D, E, F, G, H. And who can access the document, or who can access the valuable? Either A or B, and any two of C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay, and nobody, no other combination can. So we think of a solution. If anybody gets a solution, send me an email. You have my email address, distribute to the students, and if there is a solution to these two problems, they can email, and I'll read it and tell them whether they have got the right solution or not. But this doesn't need too much of involved mathematics there. Okay, probably I don't have much time, so I'll just finish with my third story. Do the kids play Sudoku? Do the kids play Sudoku? No, I didn't play when I was a student. The game didn't exist. Now, if you play Sudoku, you understand my this third story. If you don't, let me just tell the game a little bit, maybe 2-3 minutes. It's not, it doesn't need much time.
Sir, I think everyone knows Sudoku. Your audience will know Sudoku. I think so.
They know Sudoku. Okay, so
everyone, I think.
Okay, so let me still recap the Sudoku game. So recap. So 9 by 9 square. Okay, and you have we fill up with some digits. Give some are 2, some are 3, some are 7, some are 4, and then you have to fill up the rest of the square. And after you fill up, each row must have all the 9 digits. Each column must have all the 9 digits. Also, there are 9 subsquares. One 3 by 3, another 3 by 3, another 3 by 3. There are 9 3 by 3 subsquares. Each of the subsquares will have all the 9 digits. If you can do it like that, then you win the game. So today you see the Sudoku game, and let me see the name, Vanshika. So Vanshika calls Monica that, I have solved today's Sudoku. And Monica says, Vanshika, you are not that smart. I just don't believe that you have solved that problem. So the best way that Vanshika can prove to Monica, show the solution, right? See, here's the solution. She can verify. But Vanshika is also very stubborn and says, no, I don't want to show you the solution, but I want to prove to you that I have solved it. You understand the scenario? Very typical, very complicated mathematical scenario. that Vanshika doesn't want to show the solution to Monica, but yet she wants to prove to Monica that she has solved it. Okay, so let me see. I'll talk about the solution now. So what Vanshika does, she makes 81 small slips, paper slips. On 9 of them, she writes 1 on one side, other side is blank. 9 of them, she writes 2. None of them, she writes 9. Now, on the solution, she covers it up. So, if there is a 2 on her solution, she'll cover it up with a 2. 2 inside, outside is blank. 2 is inside. Likewise, she covers this entire square. So, any of this small piece of paper, from outside, this is blank, but inside, it has the same digit that what is there on that square. Okay, she does this, what we call pre-processing. And then Vanshika says, okay, Monica, you tell me a row randomly. So Monica says, row number 7. And then what she will do, from row number 7, she will pick up those piece of papers. Okay, and then put in her hand and just do some randomization. And then flip it and show it to Monica. And all Monica has to verify that she has got all the 9 digits. Then Vanshika will give another challenge. Okay, tell me another column randomly. So maybe she says, okay, the 3rd column. Then again she will do the same thing. Now she will replace those things back again after the first game. Then she will pick up the 9 slips from the 3rd column. Again, take in her hand, just randomizes, and then flips and show it to Monica. And Monica, she has to verify that Vanshika has got all the 9 digits. Then she will ask, okay, you tell me a random subsquare. She may say the middle subsquare. Then what she will do? She will pick up those slips from the middle subsquare. Okay, and again do some randomization, flip it, and show it to Monica, and Monica has to verify that it has got all the 9 digits. Then again she takes it back and fill it up. And then she may say, if you want, now Monica, will you be satisfied that she has solved the problem? Monica, I have a question for you. Will you be convinced that she has solved the problem? Monica, you can unmute and answer me yes or no.
I think so.
She will, right?
I think so.
Will she know the solution? But will she know the solution? Think about it. Everything is needed. She will not know the solution.
I think she should be satisfied with the answer.
Yeah, she should be satisfied, right? But she won't know the solution.
She does not know,
Right,
but
Vanshika?
she should be
She won't know the
satisfied.
solution. So what Vanshika has established, that she did not give the solution to Monica. So Monica doesn't get the solution at all. But Monica is satisfied that Vanshika has solved the problem. Right? So this is something is coming up bigger. It's what we call identity management. Now, how do I prove something that I am so and so? I have so and so. I know this. Okay? I will convince Professor Datta that I know these things without transferring the knowledge to her. So I'll play a game with her, and she would be convinced at the end of the game that yes, I know it, but she won't know what I know. But she will be convinced that I know that. Okay, now this is my last story. So this is what is called, if you Google search, this is called zero knowledge protocol. So you prove something, but give zero knowledge to the people. And this is what is going to be used in this cryptology domain, what we call for identity management. Okay, proving, say, this is so important in this internet era, that how do you prove this is myself? How do I prove I know this? How do I prove that you are aware of these things? So this is being used. The zero knowledge protocols are being used for the identity management for this communication. So I'll stop here and open to questions for another 15 minutes. And as I said, you can share my email address to everybody. If there are any questions even after that, I answer within 48 hours. I can ensure you. I'll answer within 48 hours to any email I get. So now you can.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Sir, just help me. I teach them group theory. So just if you could just tell them that which way we use group theory in like for the coding.
Yes, a group theory you use. Yes, actually we use field theory for constructing the one-way functions.
Sorry.
For I talked about the one-way functions that you need for communication. One-way functions they come out of group range fields. So we use those mathematical objects to generate very strong one-way function.
Even I think the coding, like even say everything, like barcode and all that stuff. This is also coding, isn't it? Barcode.
No, this is not coding. This is coding. Coding is something. This is not coding. This is encryption. This is not coding. Coding is something
this
different.
Is encryption.
That's a different.
Okay. So
That's a different.
I had an issue. So we
Yeah,
use
that's
lot of group theory while
yeah.
encrypting.
Yeah, we use group theory here also, but in a different form.
All right.
So it's not coding. So
thank you.
that's a different subject, coding theory.
Okay.
Okay, Vashima was asking some question, or?
Yes, sir.
Right?
So we may now take up questions from the audience. In case anyone has further questions, I request them to put them in the chat box itself. So, sir, the first question is from Harshit, Prishika Bansal, and Neeraj Joshi. They say that what opportunities a research scholar might expect when it comes to doing research in cryptography in India, and what is its scope and career prospects?
Okay, so this is enormous scope. So I think normally we don't teach cryptography at the undergraduate level at all. So if you are doing engineering at the BTech level, in the fourth year you teach some cryptology, but in many colleges in mathematics MSc level or engineering MTech level, we teach cryptography. And research opportunity is enormous because think of any financial transaction, you have to secure them. So any bank, any institutions, the government, the police, defense, everywhere. So wherever you want to, even in the usual government, whenever you want to secure some information, you need an expert there. So as of now, plenty of job opportunity, you don't have to worry about it, and plenty of research problems. It's good that because it's a new area, it's only developed in the last 25 years. So there are lots of problems lying around. So I told you, so I can give you, I talked about zero knowledge protocol for this Sudoku, but I can talk about a real scenario that where somebody is trying to convince somebody on certain things. Now you come up with a solution. So you have to design a game like that. So my game was the piece of paper, etc. So that becomes your contribution to the subject. So there's so many problems here and there, and research problems are plenty. But unfortunately, at undergraduate level, we don't teach cryptography anywhere. But maybe things will change because I think we assume that they should know good enough mathematics before they're exposed to cryptology. Unless they know grouping field, I cannot teach them what is one-way function. So I cannot really teach them what is cryptography.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So the second question is, what is the use of blockchain system in cryptography? This is the question by Dr. Vinod Kumar.
Okay, so it takes at least 1 hour for me to explain a blockchain, but in a sense, I'll tell you what I meant by blockchain. I think this will be very relevant if I get to a complaint of Honorable Chief Minister of Delhi. Okay, he always complains that this voting, this EVM boxes, the data is manipulated. Okay, so you vote, it's stored because the vote is counted after a few days. And this is an act of the Election Commission, but in a sense, the government. So you can change the internals. So Kejriwalji will always complain that if he loses, if he wins, he doesn't complain. If he loses, he would always say that the votes are manipulated. My storage, this votes are manipulated there. So this is relevant. So I gave us, I talked to Election Commission one day. I think they approached me. I said, what is a blockchain? Blockchain means some way of storing data. Let me not be very technical. Storing data where if you try to change even one bit, okay, it is caught. So this is called an immutable way of storing data. So it's a technology, it's a structure, but the main output is that once you put the data into the blockchain, if somebody even tries to access some data there, or somebody tries to change even one bit, okay, it will be triggered, and it will be publicly verifiable. So the most thing is this is publicly verifiable. I don't need an expert. So I told the election commission that if we store the data in that EVM using a blockchain, okay, it will take a little bit more additional cost for the EVM machine, and then publicly people can verify whether anything has been distorted there or not. And in that case, Kejriwal should be happy. So in a sense, blockchain means, without talking into much technical thing, is the way, it's called the immutable way of storing data. Immutable is the word. So it will be triggered immediately. And technology is now very well developed.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is from Kumar. He says, why Bitcoin doesn't start to operate POS algorithm instead of operating on POW?
No, Bitcoin is a controversial issue. Now, in fact, when Urjit Patel was the RBI governor, we had a long discussions, and Bitcoin is not illegal in India. So I think ultimately what is actually in the parliament is very peculiar word. It's not illegal, but it's not a legal tender in transactions in India. These two are different things. So Bitcoin could be your asset, but you could not use it for making payments. Now this is a very peculiar stand Indian government has taken, but it is legal in many places, illegal also in many places. So I think the main problem with legality is that when we mint money, so Bitcoin is minting money from solving a problem. There's some mathematical problem, they are there. If you solve the mathematical problem, and you get some Bitcoins. So depending on the difficulty of the problem, you get 12.5 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, half Bitcoin, so on and so forth. Now this Bitcoin is being minted, so you can even try. I think one student from Bangalore got 12.5 Bitcoins by solving that. You can go to the Bitcoin site and you can get a list of mathematical problems. If you solve one, you get. Now, normally when we print the money, mint the money, it relates to the economic activity of the nation. See, if we publish more money with respect to the production we are having, then we have inflation. So the minting money is in economics is related to the economic activity of the nation. Now, if we allow Bitcoins, the money will flow, but it's not coupled with economic activity or production of goods and services. Then they're afraid that it will also get into a huge uncontrollable inflation. And that's what the RBI governor or the finance ministry thought, that they cannot make a legal tender, but you can buy it in the international market. You can sell it like your share. The Bitcoin value was right now, maybe you can check, $5,000. Maybe in 1 year back it was probably $1,000. I remember 3 years ago it was $700. So you could buy Bitcoins. It's not illegal. You can possess a Bitcoin. Okay, and it's like shares. Value go and you can sell it. So it's not illegal to have Bitcoins, but you can make a legal tender. So I cannot go to the meat shop and buy 2 kilos of chicken and pay the vendor with my Bitcoin. That's illegal. Okay, next question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The next question is by Anne Maria. She says, how to learn cryptology and what are the basic steps to become a cryptographer?
Okay, the first thing you have to learn mathematics very well, especially the abstract algebra and the linear algebra. You have to be very thorough, and then also you have to be very thorough with in a computer programming, because ultimately it starts from mathematics, but then ultimately it gets into a product. So you need to convert the mathematics to a usable form. So there you need either you need a software product or you need a hardware product. Hardware product, you have to learn electronics. For software means you have to learn computer science. So strong mathematics, to start with. Without that, you can't do anything. But even after that, you have to choose a line. If you are getting into software, then you have to learn computer science. If you want to get into hardware, it's going to be electronics. Because my mobile. I was just talking to the other day some signals people. So if I want to secure my mobile communication, I can put a chip. So I can buy a chip, encryption chip, and I can put in the mobile. So my voice will go encrypted. It won't go plain. Okay, so
Yes, sir. So the next question is by Devika. She says that what should a college student focus on majorly to explore the path of cryptology and how?
I think what I would probably ask you to let the pandemic go over. You are in Mumbai, right? You are in Mumbai, right? You are located in Mumbai or some other city?
So some other city, Himachal Pradesh.
I think we should try to have a couple of days workshop. Get some people who are experts in cryptology, maybe from government, maybe from academia, maybe from industry. Some 3-4 people you invite and have a 2 days workshop with all the students. So it's not only talk, physically you interact, you have any questions, they answer. I would suggest the college can actually arrange for a 2-day workshop with the leading cryptology theorists and the practitioners both. That way they will get much better exposure. So one lecture is just to make them enthusiastic, nothing more than that.
Yes, sir. So the next question is.
If the college is autonomous, maybe you can think of introducing a course in the third year. In the last semester, you can think of introducing a course. Probably I can help you design a mathematical oriented what the undergraduate students can accept. If your college is autonomous, but if in a university environment, it's almost impossible. You can use an optional course in the third year.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
so the next question.
We do have one optional.
Yes, what is the question?
Yeah, with your permission, sir, can we take 1-2 more questions?
Yeah, take just 2 more. Okay.
Okay. Vashima, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So the next question is by Priyanka. She says, what kind of internships or courses should one look for to see that if they have an interest in cryptology or not?
Well, I think all the IITs and all the leading industries like Microsoft or Tech Mahindra, they do accept interns after your second year, even in this domain. So you can just go to the website and just apply for the internship, and there are plenty of internship opportunities for the students after second year. The summer after you complete the second year, but now with the pandemic, everything got messed up.
Yes, sir. So the last question is by Lavanya. She says, what are the qualifications required to pursue this as a career path in India, and is it different in foreign countries?
No, see, first you have to learn mathematics. That's the bottom line. Okay, good mathematics, and then either computer science or electronics, one of the two. And normally you learn cryptology at the master's level in India. So you have to find some paper at the MSc level, they teach cryptology. I know the MTech level in all the IITs and all the NITs, they teach cryptography. But at the MSc level, I'm not very sure. I know Presidency University in Kolkata, they teach cryptography at the MSc mathematics. But I'm not very sure of the other universities. But only at that level, not before that. Okay, so
yes.
So you can share my email ID with everybody.
Yes, sir, we'll do that.
Okay.
So this brings us to the end of the session. I, Vashima, the Vice President of the Mathematics Department, would like to express our immense respect and gratitude towards our guest speaker, Professor Bimal Roy, for this insightful webinar. We are honored to have you with us, sir. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and bestowing the youth with critical insights. I'm sure everyone here learned a lot from your experience and advice and will take away great insights from today's session. Thank you once again for addressing us with a realistic image of this industry. On the behalf of the Mathematics Department, I can say that we all got to learn a lot. I would like to thank Mr. Gaurav, the IT support, GSN Mary College, for providing us with the technical support. Also, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Kral, Dr. Monica Rani, Dr. Shikha Singh, and the department teachers and the entire core team for helping us organize this event. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks to the audience and the members of the mathematics department for making today's session possible and a great success. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.